Welcome to Wellness Rebranded.
We know there is so much conflicting health and fitness advice out there.
And you're tired of the wellness fads, endless diets, and impossible standards that make you feel like nothing you do is ever enough.
You're ready to tune into your mind and body and feel empowered around health.
We're the Healing Trio here to help you redesign your relationships with food, fitness, and yourself.
I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer.
Together, we're changing the narrative on health away from diet culture, hustle culture, and toxic positivity and towards healthful self-care.
So grab your water bottle, get ready to laugh, learn, and grow, and let's start rebranding your wellness journey.
Hey guys, so I want to talk about something that I talk about a lot with clients. It's a misconception.
Let me guess. Intuitive eating.
How did you know?
Diet culture.
Body image. Food. That's my favorite thing to talk
Dark
about.
chocolate.
I do talk a lot about
Yes.
chocolate. It's a conversation that I often have about a misconception that people have about intuitive eating. And we have talked about this in another episode, but from a different angle. A lot of times people hear about intuitive eating and they think, oh my gosh, if I gave myself permission to eat whatever I wanted, I would only ever eat French fries. And in prior episodes, we've talked about how often that comes from like the restrictive mindset, right? Pulling the pendulum back. And then when you're dieting, you pull it back. And then when you let it go, it swings way out. And then you can only imagine eating those foods that you've tried so hard to avoid. But that's not actually what I want to talk about today. It's related, but different. A conversation that I have had just several times this week already, to be perfectly honest, is people will say to me, like, they interpret intuitive eating as only listening to your taste buds. In other words, I go out to a restaurant and having the, I don't know, whatever it is, the hamburger, the cheeseburger and French fries and chocolate cake sounds really good. And if I'm eating intuitively, I would have that, right? And my answer is maybe, but not necessarily. And sometimes that's really shocking to people because they've interpreted intuitive eating as basically just listening to your taste buds.
I've never thought of that. What?
My clients interpret intuitive eating frequently as just like free for all, eat whatever you want.
Well,
Right.
or if I want it, I eat it,
Yeah.
right? And the goal is to have complete and total permission to eat anything you want without stressing about it, without counting the calories, without feeling guilty, without having to justify it, right? We want you to have full permission. But intuitive eating is a blend of instinct, emotion, and thought. And if you were to imagine a Venn diagram with the three circles, right? That spot where they overlap in the middle, instinct, emotion, and thought, is actually when you're eating intuitively. And I want to like break it down for you and explain what that means. So we all have gut instincts, right? How hungry we are, how full we are, whatever other messages our body might be sending us on any given day. We all have emotions, right? That we bring into meal times. We are emotional beings. Comfort foods, foods we like, foods we don't like, are emotions that play into our food choices. And then we all have rational thought, like what knowledge and what we know. And so if I only ever listened to my taste buds, right? Like, oh, X sounds good. I'm just going to eat that. And I tell my clients, like, put on your gentle nutrition know-how brain hat. And I didn't pause and think about, what do I know about nutrition? What do I know about what supports and doesn't support my body? What do I know about how I want to take care of my body and my short and long-term goals around health? That I'm actually not really into eating intuitively. I'm just following my taste buds wherever they happen to lead me.
Yes. I think that's like a key part that a lot of people miss is like you do have to put the thought into it. Like that gentle nutrition side of it is important in intuitive eating. It's just not where most people start.
Yeah, we don't start there usually. If somebody has a medical condition, it might be different. But we don't usually start there because it's very hard to wear your nutrition hat when you're still stuck in a dieting mindset and not turn it into a bunch of rules.
Yes. So we've been doing this podcast for like 3.5 years at this point. And I feel like it took me a solid 2 years of learning about intuitive eating to get into that part where I was firmly focused on the gentle nutrition side of it. It took like a long time for me to really embody that piece.
And that, just like when you're in a dieting mindset, you don't want to ever be told you just have to eat, boiled broccoli and chicken, right? Or you can only ever eat a salad. When you're in an intuitive eating mindset, you don't want it to just be thinking like, well, it's just a free for all and I'm only going to ever eat like the fun foods or the thing that sounds most good. Hopefully you're going to choose a meal that is good. Like, I don't want to discount that.
Yeah.
But hopefully you're also going to choose a meal at least much of the time, right? Sometimes we're just going to have a cupcake because we want a cupcake, and that's great. But hopefully much of the other time, you will also be making choices that fuel your body in a way that energizes you and supports your digestion and, helps your blood sugar and helps your, whatever your thing is, right? Just your body in general. And that is going to be...
Thinking about launching a podcast or taking yours to the next level? Juliana Barbati and her team are the experts you need. They take care of everything from episode funnel design to production and marketing, so you can focus on creating content that connects. Check out julianabarbati.com and mention that we sent you.
Those more nourishing, nutrient-dense foods.
I feel like I've noticed in my journey, like, dude, I love sugar. I definitely have a sweet tooth and I don't deprive myself of those things. But I also really, really enjoy like nourishing my body with, the quote unquote, like healthy stuff that we like stereotypically think of, like salads and salmon and chicken and that kind of stuff. Like having like a really wide variety of foods definitely makes my body feel good.
Yeah. And I agree.
There were like years when I was stuck in diet culture, right? And for like probably a year and a half, every single day for lunch and for dinner, I would have a 5-ounce chicken breast and like half a cup of broccoli. And it was so insanely boring. And the rules of this diet that we were following at the time was like you could not season the chicken.
Oh, gosh.
So it was even worse because it was just like massively
that sounds
bland.
terrible.
It was horrible. And like, I think for years I was like, oh, I don't really love chicken breast. Like, even if you asked me today, like, do you like chicken breast? I'd be like, it's okay. But like, I'll choose a chicken thigh any day of the week. Probably.
With seasoning.
With seasoning, thank you. Preferably marinated. But I think it harkens back to like those formative years when I ate like unseasoned chicken breast for like a ginormous portion of my life. And now I find that like having all the seasonings and all the herbs and the flavors and the variety is like crucial to my happiness and how my body feels.
So a lot of times when I have this conversation, people will literally, like I can see it on their faces that they just had no idea that that's really kind of quote unquote allowed or even encouraged to choose the nutrient dense food.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I really thought that I only ever was supposed to pick the thing that just sounded the best in that moment. I mean, sure, you can, right?
Right. It's not rules, you're allowed.
But also, wouldn't it feel great if you chose the thing that's gonna help you feel the way that you want to? And that isn't always going to be the donut or the ice cream or the cheeseburger or the wherever. There are definitely times where I, as a full-fledged intuitive eater, go into a restaurant. I'm like, oh, geez, like a burger sounds really good, but I don't order it because I know that sometimes I order a burger, but I know that on that day, if I had it, it's really not probably going to feel the way that I want to feel. Or I'll realize like, gosh, I haven't had a lot of vegetables today. So I think actually my body would feel better if I had a salad because I recognize with my rational brain that I haven't offered my body those things that I know make it feel good.
Okay, but that doesn't come until you do a lot of field work.
Correct.
On yourself, right? Because I know what things feel good in my body now because I have been paying more attention when I eat something. How do I feel right afterwards? Sometimes I feel bloated. Sometimes I feel whatever that is, right?
I love the way you framed it as field work. Yeah.
I like that too.
No, it's like you have to do the work.
Yes.
And really tune in with your body when you're eating. How does it feel? Because I do know the things that don't land well with my body, and I feel my tummy saying, hey, remember, this is not a good combination for us. And then, but if you don't have that info.
Right. If you don't have that. And just yesterday, I was having a conversation with a client who is further along in her intuitive eating journey. So, like everybody's at a different spot. I want to make sure to make that really clear before I share what I'm about to share. She's further along, but she also is a self-described very selective eater. She doesn't like many fruits and vegetables. She has very limited palate of what she grew up eating, what she likes eating. And I was saying to her, well, maybe we're at the point where you could begin experimenting, choosing some things on the menu, for example, that you normally wouldn't, because it's just not what you would normally go to. It does include foods that maybe you're not sure about. And like, you're never really going to know how those feel unless you give yourself the opportunity to try them. So like, that's a scenario where I actually was encouraging her, hey, like, consider going out of your box and trying the more nutrient dense choice that you normally wouldn't, and just see how it feels.
So I live like this, and I consider it adventuring. You know, like I have thought for years, oh, my hobby's traveling. And then I had a kid and I don't travel as much anymore because it's expensive and kids are expensive. But I recognized a few years ago that I get that same sense of satisfaction by just trying something new. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a food or adventuring as a tourist in my own city or whatever, like I still get that like self-satisfaction from doing that. And food is a really easy way because there are like Korean restaurants, Asian restaurants, Thai restaurants, like there's so many things.
Yeah, different ways of preparation and
Correct. So sometimes I go to a restaurant and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. In fact, I'll share this insanity with you guys. I ate a muskrat taco this week.
A muskrat taco?
Yes.
Where on earth did you get this?
Wait, what's the first word?
I don't know how to say it in Spanish, dude, but a muskrat is a rodent.
Okay.
Muskrat, like a mouse, a rat.
Okay,
it is bigger than a rat.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Let's pause here for a minute.
Wait, why were you eating rats?
The meat from a rat on a taco.
Yes.
Okay, can you explain?
Okay,
I feel like we should have put a trigger warning on this all of a sudden.
No, I feel like this is like the trend on Instagram, like listen and not judge.
Yes. Okay, we're not judging Tara, but we are insanely curious.
Yeah, I'm super curious and judging too. Why are you eating a rat? But okay.
You know what? I judge myself a little bit, but I felt like, dude, I have to try it.
I mean, I props off. I've never heard of eating a muskrat. I have no idea the nutrition value there.
Wait, and you did this here?
I did.
Where?
Here in
my own kitchen.
Community?
Wait, you prepared this?
I did not.
You bought the rat?
I did not. My husband's boss lives over on the eastern shore of Maryland. It is very country over there. And they prepare muskrats like fairly regularly, I'm told. So much so that in Rock Hall, Maryland, they have a muskrat cook-off. Really? And she went.
Never heard of this.
I know, right? That's because we live on the cultured side of the bridge.
Okay, don't say that.
No, just kidding. I love the Eastern Shore. But they have a muskrat cook-off contest, and my husband's boss went to the contest, and the winner of the thing was like giving away meat to all the people. And so she like scooped up an extra serving for us and brought it to us with like tortillas and pico de gallo and sour cream.
Okay, well, do tell. How was it?
To be honest, dude, the texture was really tender. It
looks like a beaver.
Yeah, it is like a small beaver.
It's like a water rodent.
You're looking it up?
Of course I'm looking it up.
It's kind of like a nutria, which I think we should eat those because those are invasive here in Maryland, but we don't. We eat the muskrat.
Wow.
Anyway, it tasted kind of like a beef taco. It was good, but I do not like the mental
I've eaten things in the past that, probably the strangest thing I've ever eaten is a puffin.
You ate a puffin?
I did.
They're so cute.
I know, but in Iceland they eat a lot of puffin. And
how was it?
When in Rome.
Did it taste like fish?
No, it tasted like chicken.
Oh, interesting.
How do you spell puffin? I'm looking on Google.
Puffin.
But hey, I'm the one who's coming from the third world country and I haven't eaten any of these, okay? FYI.
That's funny. No, but you're absolutely right, Tara, and that I like to frame it with people
Wait, that's a bird?
Yes. It's a very cute bird.
It is cute. It's kind of like a penguin.
Yeah, kind of.
Like it's in the same ballpark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Would you eat it again?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it really tasted a lot like chicken.
I feel like in Iceland,
in fact, I ate it more than
like,
once while I was there.
that's probably like the least weird
Iceland.
things you could eat in Iceland.
Yeah,
I've watched
I
a few
suppose.
documentaries on like food in Iceland, and there's some things in there that
that's funny.
make me nervous.
But anyway, we digress. So I like the idea of framing it as an adventure. I usually use the word experimentation. Like, okay, well, if you're getting to know, using Maria's example, if you're doing this field work of really trying to see how food feels in your body and how they tell the difference, which we have an entire episode on that. We'll tell you which one here in a second.
Will we?
Tara will. She's really good at that. If you're doing the field work and trying to do it, like just have an experimentation. If, obviously this is why it's really helpful to have your own dietitian and intuitive eating counselor who can help you decide if you're at a safe spot in your journey to do this. But like experiment with ordering maybe a meal that you normally wouldn't and seeing how it feels in your body.
Right.
Because you're never going to know the difference between one way of eating and another if you don't have the opportunity to try the other way. Yeah.
Can I also say that, like, when I try these, adventurous foods, like, I fully give myself permission before I even put it in my mouth that if it's gross, I'm not going to continue eating it. And I will order something else that I know I like after.
That's what I do when I'm, like, trying to make myself go get on my Peloton or exercise when I don't really want to. I fully give myself permission that if I get on there and I'm not having fun, I can get off.
Yeah.
And go read my book.
I actually encourage that for people, like when they are having a hard time getting started with exercise, like, hey, go
start. Yeah.
Go do 5 minutes. And if it still sucks at 5 minutes, get off.
Yeah. But I have gotten off, but most often I don't.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yes. So I actually would really love to know if you're listening to this episode and you have a thought or a reaction or this cleared something up for you or made it muddier, hopefully not. But if so, no matter what, send us a message. Let me know on Instagram or Facebook or shoot me an email. I would love to kind of know what thoughts it brings up because it really is a conversation that I have all the time. And it is the one that probably the most points out how nuanced this whole thing is. It depends where you are in your journey. It depends on your body and your needs and your health conditions and your food preferences and your lifestyle and so many things. It's just a great reminder that intuitive eating doesn't look the same for everybody and no two people's healing journey is the same. They're all very widely, vastly different. But this is an area that I see a lot of people get hung up on or stuck in. And so if you're stuck there, reach out and ask for help.
And if you're wondering how to get in touch with us, here in the show notes, you have everybody's email and different ways to get in touch with us. Also, a reminder that we have a Wellness Rebranded retreat coming up in May. The information is going to be here in the show notes as well, so you can register and come spend a day with us.
All right, fam, I don't know what Elizabeth was talking about. I could not find the episode, but it does exist. So go explore our episode list.
Talking about exploring.
Go adventure yourself. But here's the episode that I think that you should go listen to is episode 94. It's when intuitive eating turns into intuitive living and other ripple effects that it has. That was a really great episode talking about the effect that changing your mindset around food can have on your whole life. So go listen to that.
May I say, I feel like we're going to leave a lot of people feeling disappointed for that particular episode. If you want to know what it is, send me an email and I'll tell you which one after I put my hands on it. I'll have it ready by the time you email me.
Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara DeLeon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.